All right, my name is Christopher. I have HSV2 down here, and this is a disclaimer. This is not medical advice. If you want less info, talk to a doctor. Okay, this is the number one thing that you cannot do after your herpes diagnosis, and that is, that's a drum roll, letting yourself go. Now, I mean this in a long-term sense. I let myself go for a few months. My life was over. Single. Gonna be single forever. Alone, scared, ashamed, dirty, stigmatized. I have herpes. I'm the worst person ever. Society thinks that I should be put to death. And that's okay. It's not okay, but it's okay to feel this way because we all felt this way. But you don't have to feel this way long term. But I do think, if we're being totally honest and blunt, some people do take their herpes diagnosis so hard, and that's what she said, so long term that it actually impacts their life in a super negative way going forward long term. And there's people out there who, guy or girl, they get their diagnosis and their life is over. And they stop taking care of their health, and they stop dating, and they become a recluse, and they really feel like their entire life is over. And whether it's because of the stigma around them, or their fears, or their insecurities, or some bad situation that happens post-diagnosis, or the circumstances of their diagnosis. I don't want this to happen, but it's happening. And I don't want to call anybody out, but I want to tell you guys that you cannot let that happen to you, because above all else, there are some people out there who let themselves go, whether it's financially or mentally or physically or spiritually or any sort of way. And you get to a point where if you didn't have herpes, people wouldn't necessarily date you in general. And that's a hard thing to hear for some of you, but there is an upside to this. And it's that in the same way you can let your herpes diagnosis derail you long term, you could also let your herpes diagnosis be the catalyst for growth, the catalyst to improve yourself physically, mentally, spiritually, financially going forward. Now, you can have a little bit of downtime while you get your life in order and figure out how you feel about this, because I certainly needed 5 or 6 months to at least get back into dating, or get confident with disclosing, or really feel how I feel now long term, because it wasn't just getting herpes and being okay with it. It took a lot of actual effort. And I think that's another point too, is like, it's not just going to be a walk in the park. You have to actually want to be better, or you have to actually want to believe that everything will be better. And that's why I tell you guys, like, don't let yourself go. Don't stop dating and then your dating skills decrease. And don't stop dating because you have a fear of being single forever. Because if you really think about that, the act of not dating because you're scared of being single forever will result in you being single forever. You can't get an acceptance unless you try and unless you disclose. And like the previous video, rejection shouldn't make a difference to you as long as you know deep down how you feel about yourself. All the videos I make are all going to kind of like go together, so it helps to watch them all. I'll link that one up here because it's important to know how you feel about yourself and your diagnosis, so that no one's external opinion can shift how you feel, and you essentially become relatively bulletproof against judgment or the stigma or someone's opinion of you. And I'll also just tell you guys that, like, by getting back out there, by dating, by staying social, by improving yourself, by making sure that you don't let this bother you, it's going to exponentially increase your confidence over time, which will then help you in the future. So when it comes to dating, which is a main topic, you need to get that first disclosure, because who knows? What if your first disclosure is your last disclosure? Or what if your first disclosure is with someone who also needs to disclose to you? This is not an abnormal thing. This thing can happen, but it's up to you to actually put forth the steps to do that. So when it comes down to it, to summarize, it's okay to feel like your life is over, because I thought my life was over, but you cannot let that feeling subsist for the rest of your life, because then after a while, herpes won't be the deal breaker. You'll be the deal breaker. That's kind of a morbid thing to think about, but I hope it maybe spurs some of you guys into thinking, let's not use this as a derailment. Let's use this diagnosis as a way to become the best version of ourselves and live your best self post-diagnosis. Love you, miss you, hope you're doing well. Extra help in the description box. See you guys later.